Our tale kicks off in a royal palace room, where a mom named Origin is reading a fairy tale to her daughter, Ellen. The story is about a kingdom from the past called Tenbol, where everyone lived happily. But as it happens, one day, monsters swarmed Tenbol. So the king summoned their most powerful spirit to handle the problem. Even with the spirit's help, the hero of Tenbol couldn't take down all the monsters. So he asked her to go all out and unleash her full power. The spirit was on board and wiped out every last monster with her abilities. However, her massive attack also seriously injured the noble hero. Not wanting the heroic man to die, she whisked him away to the spirit realm, swearing she'd bring him back someday. Despite the spirit's promise, the hero never showed up again. Years later, while people are still waiting, we see Ellen in her dad's arms, listening to another woman finish the story for her own kid. When the child asks his mom what happened to the hero, Ellen chimes in that the hero is already back, but her father, Roval, tells her to keep it quiet. As he's ordering some kebabs, Ellen asks her dad when he plans on coming home, but he says it's complicated. Roval grabs the food and takes off, but a man recognizes him and calls his name. Suddenly, the whole crowd starts murmuring, and Roval makes a run for it to protect himself. While a few men give chase, he leaps over a cart and ducks into a dark alley. Unfortunately, it's just a dead end where the men corner him. The two guys are thrilled to see Roval again, but he just teleports away, leaving them completely shocked. Meanwhile, Roval pops up under a bridge where Ellen asks him why he's dodging everyone. He breaks down crying, saying that people turned him into a legend while he was gone, and now he can't handle all the attention. Seeing her dad cry like a baby, Ellen thinks about the popular story that he was in a coma for years after a mage took him. In reality, Ellen's mom, Origin, helped Roval make a full recovery, and the two of them fell in love. After marrying Origin, Roval also became a half-spirit, but he had zero control over his new powers. He spent a few years training to master his abilities before coming back to the human world with Ellen. Ellen clarifies that even though she's Roval's daughter, she was actually a Japanese scientist who got reincarnated into Ellen's body. As a scientist, she was always messing with elements, trying to create something new. But then she somehow got isekai'd into Ellen's world. Now Ellen is also training with her father to get a handle on her own magic powers. As she glances at her dad, he's complaining that everyone is going to make a big deal about his teleportation skills. She tells him to just go say hi and clear up any confusion. But Roval is too spooked to face them. Out of nowhere, Roval's old bodyguard, Alberto, finds them under the bridge. Roval tries to bolt again, but Ellen stops him. She asks Roval who Alberto is, while Alberto just stares in shock as Roval starts bragging to him about his adorable daughter. As Roval continues to gush over Ellen, Alberto awkwardly agrees that she's cute. Before getting down to business, he tells Roval that his whole family, the House of Duke Vancraft, has been desperately waiting for him to come back. Roval is totally confused by the Duke title. So Alberto explains that after he took care of all the monsters, the kingdom granted his family a noble rank. When Alberto mentions that Roval's younger brother, Sovil, is currently in charge of the family, he tells Alberto they don't need him. Alberto begs Roval to return, explaining that Sovil's wife, a woman named Agil, is stirring up some trouble. Her name sends a shock through Roval, and Alberto reveals that the royal family forced Sovil to marry her, so he had no choice. After Roval flat out refuses to see Agil, Alberto backs off. Then Ellen turns around and reminds her dad that no matter what happened, everyone is worried sick about him. Acting disappointed that he's taking his family for granted, Ellen says she hates Roval, which immediately makes him beg for her forgiveness. Right in front of Alberto, Roval easily promises Ellen he'll go home if she just stops hating him. Once he agrees, they all hop into a carriage to head home. Ellen asks Alberto about this Agil person, and he reveals that she's Tenbol's second princess and Roval's ex-fiancée. Agil was an arrogant woman who acted like she was doing him a huge favor by marrying him and called off the engagement because she figured he would die fighting the monsters. After Sovil became a duke, Agil got interested in his new status and sent an order to marry him instead. Feeling frustrated that Roval left them all behind, Alberto asks him what he was up to in the spirit realm all that time. Roval gets the hint that Alberto wants him to kick Agil out, and Alberto confirms it, explaining that she's wasted so much money she has made their family go bankrupt. However, before heading home, Roval decides to make a stop at the church first. When he walks in, the priest is shocked to see him, and Roval asks him to set up a wedding ceremony for him. The priest agrees, but asks Roval if he'd prefer the wedding to be in the kingdom's capital. When Roval tells him he needs it done ASAP, the priest starts making the arrangements. Ellen asks her dad what the big rush is to get married in the human world. He tells her it's because he doesn't want Agil causing him any trouble. Once the ceremony is ready, the priest asks Roval about his bride, and he summons her from the spirit realm. At his call, a portal rips open and Origin leaps out right into her husband's arms. Rovell apologizes for the simple wedding, but she's just happy to be getting married again in the human world. While Ellen is thrilled to see her parents, both Alberto and the priest are left speechless. Rovell explains that his wife is a spirit, so he had to become a half-spirit himself to marry her. Origin says hello to Alberto, who finally remembers seeing her on the battlefield. With everyone present, the priest asks the couple to say their vows, and they both happily agree. After taking their vows, they sign the marriage certificate, and Origin leans in for a kiss. Seeing her parents so happy, Ellen asks them to hold out their hands for a little celebration. They are confused but do what she says, and Ellen begins to summon the element platinum. With the platinum, she crafts wedding rings for her parents and slips them onto their ring fingers. Ellen explains that the ring finger is connected to the heart, so it represents a direct link between two people in love. Then, using carbon elements, she creates 2 gorgeous diamonds to top off the rings, leaving her parents with an incredible wedding present. As both parents are feeling overjoyed, Ellen finishes the ceremony with a shower of diamond dust. The newlyweds are touched by this gift when suddenly a bright light fills the church as the goddesses of this world, V and V, offer their blessings. With the approval from the 2 spirits, the priest officially declares them married, and Ellen feels great knowing she can manipulate all the elements with her cheat skill. Watching her perform these miracles, Alberto is even more blown away by Rovell's mysterious daughter. Before they all take off, Ellen gives the leftover diamonds to the priest as a gift. She runs out to her parents and tells Rovell he looked cool, which makes him super smug. His creepy smile kills Ellen's mood, and she turns to stare at the quiet Alberto. He quickly congratulates the newlyweds on their marriage. Rovell accepts his congratulations and then tells Origin to take Ellen back to the spirit realm. Seeing Ellen's confusion, he explains that Agil might get nasty if she's around. Rovell tells his daughter she can just watch him through a magic mirror, and Origin is on board with the plan. When Origin says she wants to burn the rotten Agil to a crisp, Ellen is surprised by how much her parents despise the woman. Rovell tells her that Agil is his enemy, and that he's also worried the royal family might try to arrange a marriage for Ellen. Alberto finds it weird since Ellen is just a kid, but Rovell says he's not taking any chances with her adorable looks. With that explained, Origin says goodbye to her husband, and he heads to the carriage with Alberto. However, Rovell gets cold feet and tries to run back to his wife. So, Origin tells him to man up and get his business done. After Rovell finally gets going, they enter the spirit realm together, and find a magic mirror to watch Rovell's adventure. In the carriage, Alberto feels sorry for Rovell. Knowing just how awful Agil is, he remembers how she basically strong-armed him into marrying her, and then treated him like garbage. As Agil's behavior got even worse, Rovell grew tired of her, right up until the monsters attacked the city. This gave him the perfect excuse to break off their engagement, saying he could die in the fight. But Agil was furious and sent him to the front lines with his father as punishment. His father died in the battle, and Origin carried Rovell away to the spirit realm. As he finishes the flashback, Alberto is amazed at how much Rovell has changed. He wonders if living in the spirit realm helped Rovell find the happiness he lost after the monster invasion. Clenching his fists, Alberto apologizes to Rovell for not being able to keep Agil in check. Rovell knows how unreasonable she can be, so he doesn't hold it against his loyal guard, saying he's also to blame for leaving Alberto to deal with her alone. Rovell tells him to stop feeling so guilty about it. As their carriage rolls through town, the Vancraft family has put up flags everywhere to welcome home their hero, Rovell. Noticing the flags, people start to gather and celebrate Rovell's return. Seeing them all celebrate brings a smile to Rovell's face, and their carriage soon arrives at the family mansion, where another crowd has formed to see him. As the gates swing open, the carriage pulls up to the mansion's entrance. Rovell and Alberto step out, and the hero walks forward to greet the crowd. He tells everyone he's glad to see them, and the crowd goes wild as he turns to head inside. At the main door of the building, Rovell is met by the head butler and all the family maids, who are lined up waiting for him. The entire staff bows to Rovell, who thanks them for the warm welcome. The butler politely leads Rovell inside the house, where he hears a woman's voice excitedly shouting about his return. Suddenly, a woman comes rushing from the second floor and spots Rovell standing downstairs. Overjoyed, she immediately starts running toward him, but slips and tumbles down the stairs like a sack of potatoes. The butler quietly ignores his madam's embarrassing display, while Rovell just stares at her in shock. He wonders who this large creature is, and the butler informs him that she is in fact Madame Agil. Meanwhile, the piggish Agil tries to hug Rovell again, but he dodges her, disgusted by her grotesque appearance. The butler panics at his rude comment, but Agil brushes it off and claims her father forced her to marry Rovell's brother. Lost in her own fantasy, Agil insists that Rovell finally came back for her, but he coldly shuts her down. Watching her try to make a move on her husband, Origin gets absolutely furious back in the spirit realm. Ellen has to remind her mother not to burn down their castle, and she finally calms down at her daughter's warning. Origin tells Ellen that this shameless woman is a Jill, and she nods, understanding they are now facing her father's greatest enemy. But well, if you've made it this far, comment the word Daisuki to let me know you've reached the end. Here on the screen, I leave you with these 2 cool videos, just like the person watching this video. See you next time. Take care, drink water, take a shower, and bye.